Good afternoon, and thank you to Ed Trust West for inviting us to participate in this discussion today. We've heard from the group from LAUSD about what they're planning to do. We've heard from College Ready Promise about what is being piloted. And what I want to share with you today is what we have been doing, what thousands of teachers actually across the country have been doing in TAP schools for over a decade. So let me start with a little history. Over a decade ago, Lowell Milken and a group of us at the Milken Family Foundation came together to look at what was being done to improve teacher effectiveness across the country. We looked at research, literature in the areas of psychology, education, other social sciences, business, management, and we analyzed structures that were being developed to attract and retain high-quality human capital to our education systems. We sought feedback and insights from teachers through focus groups, through review boards. We also tapped into the Milken Educator Network, which is a network of award-winning teachers across the country. What came of this work was the development of the TAP system. Now, TAP is currently overseen by the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching. We are a Santa Monica-based nonprofit foundation or organization. We're a sister organization to the Milken Family Foundation, so just so there's some context of who we are. TAP is a comprehensive school reform model. It transforms human capital and operational structures of a school. It's designed to attract new teachers to the profession, but then it's really core in supporting teachers once they're in the schools. And that's for both new and veteran teachers. And we want to motivate and retain the highest quality teachers in our schools. So TAP aligns professional development, teacher accountability, career advancement, as well as performance-based compensation, all with the goal of improving student achievement. What we realized, and we've heard it here today a couple of times, and the research certainly confirms, without an effective teacher in the classroom, it doesn't really matter what tools we have. It doesn't matter the curriculum. It doesn't matter the technology. We need an adult who's effective and successful in order to see improvement in our students' achievement. So let me take a couple of minutes and describe really quickly the four interconnected elements of TAP. They are aligned, and they're aligned by design, which happens to be the title of one of our publications. So there are four essential elements: multiple career paths, ongoing applied professional growth, instructionally focused accountability, which is our teacher evaluation system, and performance-based compensation. I want to make clear up front that TAP is not a reform that's mandated or put upon schools. We require or recommend a 70% vote by the faculty. Therefore, teacher buy-in is explicit at the onset of implementation. However, in our most successful TAP schools, what we see is not just the support of the teachers, but we see support from school administrators, district leaders, as well as state officials. So it becomes a bottom-up, top-down initiative. So TAP teachers, the first element, multiple career paths, TAP teachers have the opportunity to increase their roles and responsibilities along a career continuum from career teacher to mentor to master. Someone earlier on talked about how it's important to have the greatest expertise still stay in the classroom, so our master teachers still work quite a bit. They team teach with other teachers, they model lessons, they're in the classroom on a regular basis. Compensation is commensurate with the level of responsibilities held by each teacher, so that the teachers in the leadership positions receive a salary augmentation that recognizes their additional work. Ongoing applied professional growth, which is our term for professional development, is school-based, job-embedded. Very important. It's not about going to sessions that may not be related to the needs of the students in that school and in individual teachers' classrooms. The professional development takes place during the school day, during the contract day, and it is at least an hour a week in grade or subject level meetings. So it may be the fifth grade teachers all meet together, or in a middle school it may be the math teachers who meet together. And sometimes it's both. Next, TAP provides an instructionally focused accountability system, or what we call, it's really our evaluation system. And the system is comprehensive, it's based on research, and provides clearly defined teaching standards, procedures, and performance rubrics so teachers know what to expect. And that's really important. There are no surprises when teachers are evaluated. Teachers in TAP schools are evaluated 4 to 6 times a year by multiple trained and certified evaluators. And those evaluators are the TAP leadership team, which include the administrators in the school, as well as the master and the mentor teachers. Now, the key is that the evaluation system is supported by a very strong professional development structure that builds upon good practice, application in the classroom, and supports all teachers. Finally, the accountability system links performance to compensation. Now, when I reflect back over a decade ago, when I would give presentations on TAP, actually the performance compensation piece was the part that everyone resisted. How can we do differentiation in pay? It also has been the one element that we have seen the greatest increase in teacher support for over the last decade, which I think reflects the national agenda as well. Our compensation system and our accountability system is based on multiple measures. 50% is on classroom performance, which we call the observation. SKR is our abbreviation for skills, knowledge, and responsibilities. So 50% is those 4 to 6 evaluations that happen each year. The other 50% is on student achievement, value added. And of that, 20% we attribute to school-wide gains and 30% to individual classroom gains when that's available. When it's not, that entire place would be 50% on school-wide. Now, there's some discussion about the different value-added measures. In TAP schools, we require value-added. We want to look at growth measures, not absolute, but we don't mandate what methodology, what vendor different districts use. So we have seen a very positive impact of TAP on TAP schools, and we've seen this through research that compares TAP schools to non-TAP schools, and we see greater value-added growth in the TAP schools. We've also collected, as I mentioned, over 10 years of teacher attitudinal data, and we have seen that support for all the elements of TAP has only grown over the years. Most, I think, powerful has been the collegiality that we see in our TAP schools, and that in spite of so much opposition to the performance-based compensation piece and the accountability piece, where people argued, well, you will be disrupting the collaborative nature of the schools by having differentiation in salaries. We've actually seen the exact opposite, and part of that is attributed to the professional development because it is job embedded and such a core aspect of the TAP system. So teacher evaluation systems clearly have been at the forefront of national discussions. That's why we're meeting here today. And I think most of us are familiar with the widget effect. I think the report was on the table outside, where we see that, as has been mentioned, most teachers in today's schools are evaluated very cursory, in a cursory method. Most teachers are deemed to be effective or highly effective. In TAP schools, this is different, and let me backpedal a bit. We see these results, and you would think that we have great student achievement, but we know from national assessments that our students' achievement levels have remained pretty flat over the last 40 years. And when we look at international comparisons, we are actually falling behind. So, as states and districts are looking to revamp their evaluation systems, we think there are some lessons that can be learned from what TAP has experienced in the last decade. TAP represents actually one of the longest, most sustained, successful efforts to transform an evaluation system using multiple measures, including student achievement growth. And we were using student achievement growth before it was actually a common something that anyone talked about, actually. TAP's evaluation system, and TAP has been implemented in, it's been tested by thousands of teachers to date, and starting this fall, we will be in schools representing over or impacting 20,000 teachers, over 20,000 teachers, and 200,000 students across the country. More importantly, though, if you look at our distribution of evaluation outcomes, you see a normal distribution, meaning that, some teachers perform better than others. That's what we'd expect. It's a realistic distribution, and it's the result of, we believe it's a result of using valid research-based rubrics, but also the intensive training that we give to our evaluators. The TAP rubric, and it is similar to some that we have seen already, and probably that reflects some of the history that, the research that set the foundation for these types of instruments. But we have 19 performance indicators. The specificity of the indicators provide teachers with a very clear understanding of what they should expect when that evaluator comes in the classroom. It also, though, creates a conversation and a common language around what good practice is in a school. And so the culture of the school really changes as a result of this instrument. The TAP evaluators go through an intensive training, they become certified, and that's a very important calibration to ensure inter-rater reliability. Certification is not a lifetime designation, rather, TAP evaluators go through the process annually. And if you don't pass that certification, you don't do evaluations. After observing lessons, the evaluators score on a scale from 1 to 5. And we really very consciously defined the 3 as what we would hope every teacher to be. If every teacher got a 3, we'd be doing pretty well. We'd have a pretty strong workforce. Of course, we'd like everyone to strive for that 4 and 5, and it gives everyone the opportunity for growth and improvement. We have seen the evaluation system, we established it to set 2 goals. It is to measure performance, but almost more importantly, it's to support improvement. And these 2 goals really also represent different levers of change. One is to produce sound data for teacher effectiveness so that districts and schools can use it for performance decisions. The other is to provide individualized and intensive support so that there can be ongoing improvement. Increases in teacher effectiveness then lead to attracting, or increases in teacher effectiveness is not only due to more talented people coming into the profession, but also developing those that are there. Some of you may have picked up the report that we have out on the resource table called More Than Measurement. I encourage you to take a look at it. It describes in greater detail how our system is more than simply measurement. We've invested very heavily in quality control, data management systems, so that evaluation data can be used effectively to promote professional development activities. So I'll run through very quickly some of the things. These are examples of some charts that could be generated from the data. This is a very, very quickly, if a middle school where you have ELA and math teachers, and you see how the different groups of teachers are performing on various indicators. So a leadership team might look at this and say, well, there are some indicators that we need to really focus for the ELA cluster group improving, whereas other things we're doing very effectively across the school. Similarly, if we wanted to look at how a group of teachers grow over the course of the year, and let's say our school had set standards and objectives as our priority, well, we see from here that we're accomplishing. That top blue line is standards and objectives. We also use value added in a professional development manner as well. This is a piece from many of our schools use SAS-EVOS, Bill Sanders, to calculate their value added. This is just a small little piece of the report that teachers get. And what it tells us is, this is an example of a teacher who got a value added score of, I'm not sure what, above proficient. But this table tells us that among the students in her classroom, she was doing very well with those who were kind of at the lowest starting point. But she didn't do as well with those at the highest. So she then is able to look at this and say, how can I change? What do I need? What support do I need to better address the needs of actually my highest students? The key being that all of this is used to help support and improve the teachers in the school. It's important that, I think this was raised by another speaker, that there's a relationship between the teacher value added, so the student achievement growth, as well as the observation, the actual behavior of the teacher. And the research that we have done internally, we see a relationship, and this really validates to the teacher that what they're doing is beneficial. It also emphasizes the importance of using multiple measures. So, because of timing, I sure have run through a lot very quickly. There's a lot of information here. I think a key takeaway is that TAP has been successfully implemented in schools across the country, where teachers have decided that it's important to be a pioneer in this effort. And we've done this in organizations with strong unions. We've done this with leadership of unions. We've done this in non-union states as well. The bottom line, though, is that teachers are seeing the benefit, and the voice of the teacher is so important. Now, in California, we have not been fortunate enough to have a history of implementing TAP, but this year we were thrilled when Lucia School District came to us and said, we want to do TAP, and we want to apply for Teacher Incentive Fund money. And so we've been partnering with them, and they were fortunate to get that grant this past fall. Their teachers have voted in 7 of the schools to do TAP, and I would like to welcome Socorro Orozco, who's a kindergarten teacher in one of those TAP schools, to talk about why they decided this is something for them to pursue. And we, given that our organization is based in California, it has always been that daunting question of, well, which schools are you in California? And we always have to say, well, we're not. So we're really thrilled that we can now say with great pride that we are in Lucia Mar. So, Socorro?
So I am a teacher, the people you've been talking about all this time. I have been working at Fairgrove Elementary for 16 years. I started at Cal Poly in the Central Coast of California. The Central Coast is anywhere between Avila Beach, Pismo Beach, Grover Beach. Sound tempting? That's us. That's the Central Coast. So Lucia Mar is where I've been working at for 16 years. I'm not done. I'm just getting started. What's wrong with our system? You've pointed out so many things, but I love teaching. It's my passion. Since I was in 4th grade, I think I knew teaching was where I was going. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I've never changed my mind. I love what I do. It is truly my passion. This is what I do, and I take pride in it. So Fairgrove Elementary is a school with like 450 students, and 40% of those are EL learners. We are doing fantastic. I'm proud to be at Fairgrove, and you'll soon find out more. So 13 of those years have been in kindergarten, and I've seen classes go from 20, which has been fantastic, to now 27 and 33 at some points when I'm doing language arts and teaching the most important part of the curriculum, which is reading and writing and math, with 33 students. I think I'm kind of outnumbered. Would you agree? So I'm here to talk about the evaluation system as a teacher. You've been talking about it all this time, but what does it look like for a teacher? We're in it. We're in the trenches. There is a difference between a probationary teacher, the temporary teachers, the beginning teachers, and a tenured teacher. A beginning teacher is someone who just got started. And so they're evaluated by their principal, the one and only person that comes in their room to evaluate them. And for a probationary teacher, they get 2 formal evaluations a year, which means that the teacher writes up a lesson plan that's supposed to be fantastic, and everything is going to go well during that lesson because they want to impress their principal, make sure that they know that they're an effective teacher. So twice a year, they write up these wonderful lesson plans and deliver the best work that they can do for this principal. Also, the principal can come in at any time of the year unannounced and sit and watch what's going on in the classroom, and that's totally fine. That's an informal evaluation for a beginning teacher, which we know is coming. When the lesson happens, after the lesson happens, all those things, you get a rating of a C for competent, and an I for improvement, and a U for unsatisfactory. I've been a competent teacher for 16 years now. I've received nothing but a C. So I'm doing great, right? I'm a veteran teacher, so I'm beyond the beginning teacher. So tenured teachers are, after your third year, you're now a tenured teacher. You're supposed to know your craft and do it well. You get 1 evaluation per year, a formal evaluation where you tell your principal, this is the lesson I'm going to do. Here's my lesson plan. I'm going to do it in front of you, and everything is going to go spectacular because I'm a veteran teacher who knows what they're doing. After the first year, after you're a tenured teacher, then a principal who has been evaluating you and giving you C for competent because you're great and you know what you're doing can also say, Socorro, you're so good, we're going to give you a year's waive. So we're going to waive your observation for 1 year. I'll evaluate you the next year. This year is my waiver year. I got a waiver that says you don't have to be evaluated this year. Great. So next year is my evaluation. And next year's I'm going to be evaluated 1 time by my principal, the only person that gets to evaluate my effectiveness as a teacher. During my evaluation, I'm hoping everything goes great. I plan it out as best as I can. I do everything I know to do because that principal has to know that I'm great at what I do. But the inevitable happens. Let's say the day before, you get laryngitis and your voice is gone. Now you can't present the fabulous lesson that you wanted to do. Or a student throws up right in the middle of your wonderful lesson. How about that? That helps you out a lot. Or a fire drill happens in the middle of your lesson, and you can't show what a wonderful job you're doing to the principal because these factors keep happening. Or the principal gets called out on something more important than your evaluation. Great, but I've got a better one. I don't think it was a formal evaluation. I think it was just an informal evaluation, and my principal, over 6 years ago, comes into my classroom and he's evaluating me, and I'm in kindergarten, and in the middle of my lesson, the Grover Beach PD comes in and whispers in my ear, there's a parent that needs to be arrested in your room. The child's parent is in the copy room making copies for my homework for next week. And that child is going to watch their mom be arrested in the middle of my lesson. These are the kinds of things teachers are facing. Is the evaluation system really evaluating my effectiveness as a teacher with the multiple things we have going on? You answer that for me. So, all the concerns we've been raising are what you've been seeing that people are trying to fix. We have a system that has infrequent evaluations. I could go on for every other year for an evaluation. Meantime, the principal says, you're doing fantastic. Close your door and teach. There's no constructive criticism. I don't get feedback for this whole year. I'm assuming I'm doing wonderful. My students are moving academically. The parents in my room are happy to have me as a teacher to their parents. I think I'm doing great. Again, is the teacher evaluation that we're currently using, is it evaluating effectiveness as a teacher? Fairgrove is a fantastic place to work. Lucia is a fantastic district to work for. We have many challenges, but we found TAP, and we're very proud to be part of the TAP system. In it, we're going to be able to get collaborative opportunities with our peers once a week. We're going to get multiple people to come and evaluate me, not just my principal, but master teachers, mentor teachers, and get a perspective from different people looking at what I'm doing, constructively asking themselves, is this effective? Is Socorro doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in every area? And if I'm not a 5 in every area, which I'm hoping to be, how can I get her there? Different people are helping me do that. I don't have the resources in my classroom for other evaluators to come in. I get one principal currently. Also, you're telling me that if I do great and you're helping me and you're coaching me and giving constructive criticism, and I'm going to get extra pay for that? Who doesn't want that? I want a system that helps me. California doesn't have funding. We keep getting told, but there's no funding. My class sizes keep going up. I was at 20, now at 27, sometimes 33. I have no one in there, like I grew up with, a full-time teacher, an assistant, and yet I'm expected to perform, and my students are expected to perform academic achievement rates that are going so fast and so high, and yet teachers don't have the resources that we need to do those things. So TAP is going to help us do all of those things. So as someone who's constantly looking for more effective means to improve student achievement, that's a huge factor for me. I have a personal stake in TAP. My students are at Fairgrove. Next year, I have a kindergartner and a second grader and a sixth grader at Fairgrove. I need the best teachers for my own kids, but for the rest of my students in my classroom as well. They deserve the best, not just my own kids, but the rest of the staff. And we're hoping TAP will help us do that. I thank you for the opportunity and the voice you gave teachers. Thanks.